reflect real-life themes, and this week's Holby City is hoping it can reach out to men who might be living with mental health problems.
The series has joined forces with the charity Mind to create an episode tackling some of the sort of misconceptions about depression.
Before we find out more, let's look at a clip of the incident which leads the character, Dr. Sasha Levy, to consider ending his own life.
There's too much blood. I can do it. How many units has he had?
40.
40? He's arresting again.
Another milligram of adrenaline and charged to 100. Don't look at him, Connor is my patient. Another milligram of adrenaline and charged to 100.
Charging. Stand clear. Shocking.
Again.
Sasha.
Again.
Charging. Stand clear. Shocking.
OK, well, we're joined by the actor Bob Barrett, who plays Dr. Sasha Levy. Thank you very much for coming in this morning, Jenny Regan from Mind, and by real-life paramedic Ismail Rifai, who's experienced depression himself. Welcome to you all. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's talk about that episode first up, Bob, because it's... Some people have called it a genre break of Holby City.
Yes.
It's very different in the way that it's filmed and the way that it comes across.
It's split between... You see the story over the whole year where his depression has grown, but you haven't actually seen it in the show. I had 2 episodes of depression before, and the whole idea is that people who have clinical depression hide it incredibly well, and they put on a mask and a face, and beneath that is they're crumbling inside. And I think so. Basically, the ep's split between flashbacks over a year and present day, and the character you saw there is a character called Connor, who dies that day, and that's a patient who Sasha has been looking after for over a year. That comes to a head.
That's the sort of catalyst, isn't it?
That sort of leads to...
Ishmael, you suffered yourself, and I know. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us about it, because I know this is, it's incredibly personal, some of this as well, isn't it? Just that kind of echo. Were you hiding things when you were feeling down and depressed?
Very much so. It's something that we tend not to talk about, and as such, we hide it exceptionally well until it comes to such a point where you feel like you're just about to lose everything. But it's that build-up sort of thing where you kind of, everything's all right, great, carry on.
One of the things that struck me about watching it was, and I'm sure many people will relate to this, in front of that, your character's standing in front of people with a smile on his face, shuts the door, smile goes. Yeah. Was that something that you felt?
All the time. And I think that's kind of where your partners, your loved ones, they'll see it more so, because out in the public I was very much everything's all right, happy, smiley type person, but when you get home, you let the guard down, and that's where you kind of fall apart, really.
And Jenny, from your point of view, I mean, I'm sure Bob's put a lot of work into studying and how people would be. It's hugely important from your perspective, from Mind's point of view, to get something like this right, so the characterisation is right, and it feels, to people like Ishmael who've been through it, it feels real life.
Completely. We know that when the media does storylines like this really well, that people do tend to seek help. They recognise in themselves possibly that they have depression or an illness. And particularly this storyline, because we know that men are in such danger of trying to take their own lives. It's the biggest killer of of men under 45. So taking a character like Sasha, who's really well liked, he's a bit of a joker, and giving him something like depression, but following it through in a kind of a very realistic way, hopefully will make a huge impact.
And Mind has worked closely with the storyline and everything. It's
been fantastic. I mean, obviously we wanted to get it as accurate as possible because it's such an important subject. Jenny's been amazing. The story team have worked with Jenny, and I think it's helped enormously. We had a great writer, Michelle Lipton, and director Tracy Rooney, who were very sympathetic to the subject as well. And the key to us was just to make it as accurate as we possibly could to tell, Ish's story in the show. I mean, he's obviously lived it, and it's totally different to us. But it's
But we haven't got enough time to go through it all. But yeah.
Well, I know we haven't got that much time. But I wondered, what was it in the end that made you get help? Did somebody come in and speak to you about it, or did you just feel like I need to get this addressed?
Total breakdown, where I found myself at work and just crying uncontrollably crying, unable to do anything. So at that point, I knew I needed help desperately.